A Venezuelan child who entered this country illegally is to stay in quarantine at the Heliport in Chaguaramas and could face deportation. This is the ruling handed by a High Court judge in Port of Spain today. Attorneys representing the 11-year-old girl brought a constitutional motion against the Attorney General, hoping to stave off deportation of the minor. The child's mother lives in Trinidad and has UNHCR asylum-seeker status, but does not have a government registration card. The child is among 16 minors and 10 adults who returned to Trinidad and Tobago after being repatriated 2 Sundays ago.
Justice Frank Sipasan has instructed that the claimant's mother should be allowed to supply the minor with a cell phone, clothing, food and snacks, and she should also be allowed to go into quarantine if she chooses, as requests for daily visits pose economic and health challenges. The state also has to ensure that the minor is housed in suitable facilities, such as community residences, as outlined in the Children's Act. Justice Sipasad said where deportation or repatriation exercises are undertaken, the same must also be done in a safe, dignified and humane manner. He said while the court values the concept of family life and appreciates the human yearning to be reunited with one's offspring, conscious decisions were taken to come illegally into this jurisdiction. Justice Sipasad said as a small island state, our limited and strained resources must be utilized in a proportionate, measured and humane manner, but the law has to remain relevant and relatable. He said illegal entry, especially in this pandemic, can expose the citizens of this republic to real medical and societal risks and can also catalyze human trafficking and egregious human rights violations. Justice Sipasad ruled as well that decisive leadership is required, as comprehensive migrant laws should be considered and Immigration Act amendments should be prioritized. He said in equal measure, a Herculean and coordinated effort to protect the border must be engaged. Justice Sipasad said the provisions of the Immigration Act, though in need of drastic reform, are not ambiguous, and as a dualist state, the failure to incorporate the UNHCR 1951 Refugee Convention obligations into our domestic law cannot be ignored. Justice Sipasad said the court has to ensure that it does not overstep the separation of powers principle and impose its own view as to proper policy, and therefore holds the view that it would not be just or convenient to grant the injunctive relief sought, so as to restrain the state from enforcing what on the face of it appears to be the existing domestic law. Karen Kozier-Phillip, TTT News.
TTT News was told that the lawyers representing the group of Venezuelan migrants had to file individual lawsuits for the 16 children and 10 adults who are still quarantined at the Chaguaramas Heliport. Attorney-at-Law Gerald Ramdeen told TTT News that 3 applications before Justice Joan Charles on Monday night were granted, preventing their deportation, while 2 other applications before Justice Everson Quinlan Williams were also granted. 3 other applications filed on Monday are still to be heard.